Welcome to week 11. So do you know why we're talking about week 11 and not week 1? Do you know that already? Okay, you have to, because there are so many rules, so many little things in this class that you have to learn really quick. So I have a lot of announcements, but the first one is I already sent an email to facilities. Which we will have 2 additional desks here. So sorry you're not having a desk. It's only for today. Okay, we're fixing that. And as a reminder, the beginning of the week is on Thursdays. So when we meet here all together to have a broad discussion. Okay, and on Tuesdays we will split. Half of you, section 2, with Robert Cowper will be here, and half of you, section 1 will be in 308 with Professor Cardona. Is that okay for you? So every Thursday, come to here. Every Tuesday, go to your room. There are completely different activities. On Thursday, we're having more lecture-based big discussions, and in Tuesday we'll be workshopping. So supposedly today we will finish with certain ideas. Come on, Matt, how are you? I will tell you a different name every. Are you okay with that? Today you're Matt for me. Is that okay? So hello, John. So I will sing. I love my friend. Okay, supposedly today, Peter, at the end of the day, at the end of the class, we will finish with certain critical ideas that will help you to do your analysis for Tuesday. So that's the reason because today is so important, because today we are trying to understand a topic, and this is the topic that is in the screen. And you will use whatever we discussed here to do the analysis for Tuesday, okay? So he was asking me if you can take notes. You can. So you will say that for this class, and you will learn that more from Robert. Robert is in Java, still in Java, coming back from Java. He will be in next class. So you will know that we prefer you to use your devices at the beginning for this exercise, and after that it will be free device this class, so come with some papers to take some notes, okay? Any question for me so far? Okay, so, but I told you that we have to, actually I have to ask you some personal things. Yesterday I was with my daughter, and my daughter told me that I speak so fast. Why do you speak so fast, Dad? So if you feel that I'm speaking really fast, raise your hand and ask me to slow down, okay? I'm so energetic, so I can breathe so slower if you want. Okay? Okay, that's the deal. I told you that we should finish today's class with certain critical ideas, critical thinking about these topics. And to introduce this discussion, we have some guests today, which are Kira, Karen, Kira, Kylie, and Catalina. So welcome to the stage. It's your turn. Yeah, please. So this is the first thing. I promise that next time I will speak less, but you have 10 minutes to have a discussion. And then hopefully you will finish these 10 minutes with certain critical things, or especially questions that you want me to answer in my lecture. And we want all of us to discuss during the rest of the class. So this is the first 2 slides about. And after that, at the very end, I will give you 5 minutes to conclude. Some ideas what we learned for the class, or especially some remarks that you can use for the analysis. So that they are guinea pigs today, so be relaxed. Every time it will be much more easy, but they are the first one. And remember, after the class, you need to add another slide, a third one with your conclusions of the course. Okay, the stage is all yours.
Okay, so we were tasked with doing the first question or the first few slides for what's the point. That was based on the reading that we had yesterday or the past 2 days. Yeah, I don't know if anybody wants to add any other comment about it. No?
Can I suggest?
Yeah.
This is the first time. My suggestion is that you have like one sentence or two about what is this topic about. And then after that, you can go to the second slide to start whatever you prepare for.
I think we went through the almost all the different discussions that you posed, and we come with the idea of the impact that like the different impacts that the cities can cause in the climate change, and that's why we come with this question. It's very broad, but we wanted to hear, we make it very broad to hear all the different points of view.
You can take next if you want.
Next, yeah, this one. Yeah.
So the question is, how can urban design strategies influence climate change?
So you know what you have to do, huh? So go to the website, menti.com, you can click this core code or put that code, and you have to answer that question. And supposedly you have to read and scout that a little bit. Okay?
Yes.
So you can scroll down because I believe that it will be more clear.
We a lot about embodied carbon and reducing carbon footprint.
You have to speak a little louder.
I see a lot about embodied carbon and the carbon footprint, carbon emissions from cities. Does anybody want to share their response?
I don't know, I'm suggesting that you already have certain keynotes, carbon emission and footprint. Yeah. So again, we have to come very quick with certain solution. We have to mean again.
I think they're
So guys, don't leave them alone. You will be there soon. They asked, someone want to share something about what you brought related to this topic? Raise your hand. Tell them.
So, like along the lines of what I wrote was that cities, from the reading, cities are like some of the highest places where carbon emissions come from. So, implementing like some more sustainable strategies within them can help overall emissions to go down.
But that, sorry, can I come here? So this is a what answer. She's asking how. So what should be done? Yeah, be more sustainable. That's great. They're asking very specific word there. It's not what we have to do. It's how we can make that. So I don't know if we're answering their question. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, yeah.
One of the most significant effects of climate change would be storm surge flooding, so things like biospheres and things to mitigate flooding patterns.
I think because like many cities have similar structures and there's many things that are shared among different cities, like if one city uses like some experimental like way to help influence climate change, it can be like shared across multiple cities if they use the same system.
I was going to say, I guess a lot of people said more materials, so like reducing like global warming is another thing that be used as a strategy for climate change.
I think I really like this comment because he's trying to look patterns. This is one of the most difficult things. He's right. Many people wrote about materiality. So it seems that we have to describe, and many people talk about sustainable strategies and reducing carbon emissions. So what are the patterns that we're looking here is something that we have to discover, yeah.
I will consider that his answer brings us to the point of is also the economy. What is like expensive to produce or what is not, and the impact that is like a lot of people are spending on this product also move the impact of the economy, you know. So in some cases, for some countries, it's cheaper building concrete and safer according with the climate conditions. Here it is very flexible to be a little more eco-friendly, like going for the wood, you know. But if you compare with other cities, they of course had a higher impact of climate, like a climate impact because of the production. But I totally agree with that this is the key point, and is the production of the material and how it's influenced by either the demography, I would say, and the conditions of the climate in the country, the economy, the social, I would say social economy.
I feel like that raises the question too of like, is it up to the designer for like picking the materials, or is it up to like the government and like how easily accessible certain things are if they're producing things in that country, and then like the countries working together to make this work.
So that's a good one. Huh? Do we really have agency to change or to make this change? Or the system, whatever we call the system, the operating system, demand us to behave in a way that we cannot know about. Like, do we really pick our materials? No, that's a good one. I think I can talk about that. Okay, thank you very much. So please give a hand to this thing, please. This is the first time. So I think you have two responsibilities as coach. You can go to your desk. And one, be sure that this. Come on, we are improvising here. This is the first time in our life that we do this exercise. So we are learning now. For sure, this should be in the final slide. But also, I'll do my best today to talk about these issues. But if I miss something, it's your responsibility to tell me you didn't do that. You have to train me. You have to protest if you want. You have to talk about that. You're paying me, guys. This is so expensive. So you need to make this really work for you. So is there any other like emergent question coming from the topic of the reading that some of you think we must answer today? Any other thing in addition to these topics that would you believe we must answer today? I want to be sure that we are serving in a good way what is in your minds. No? Okay. You can raise your hand anytime, okay? I am this type of professor that can be interrupted anytime. So I have one suggestion for the other teams. I know that I use this tool, and you also use this tool. Try to use another one to see what happened, because what is happening here for me was a little difficult, and I realized that now then it's not a critique. That it's very difficult to look at patterns with this tool. So probably a word cloud or a survey, for example, or a poll can help us to recognize pattern better. So next team, who's doing What's the Point next week? Raise your hand. Okay, guys, you take a look of the tools and see how we can make that even better week by week. Okay, so today, guys, I have a big challenge because I have two presentations. So commonly what happened here is that there is one presentation delivered by Robert and another one delivered by me. Frequently, he delivers history and I delivers the theory. So he talks about the history of urbanization, especially in this continent, with some references from the global perspective. And I'll talk about specific things, specific theories. Today, I'll talk about ecology. It's a concept. So you'll see that in the syllabus, you have always a phrase and a concept. So today we'll do both. So next week we will have in these pairs. But before I start, I just want to, so thank you, Peter, for your email. So I have these two books. 101 Things I Learned in Architecture School, 101 Things I Learned in Urban Design School. You know these books? They're really fun books. So I will move them around. And this comes with several diagrams. It comes with a diagram and a design principle. So this is kind of similar to what we are asking for the analysis. You analyze one case study. I will give you an example at the end. You will analyze one case study and with the prescriptions that are in the assignment. And then after that, we want you to write the design principle and draw a diagram. And you have here several great examples. So take a look at these books while I am talking. And there is another thing that I want to tell you before I start. So I'll talk for around 1 hour and 50 minutes. That will be a lot. If you feel that you are exhausted of listening to me for 1 hour and 15 minutes, you can raise your hand. You can say, please stop. This is too much. I'm not getting it. So then we can see what happens. We can have a little bit of a stretch and have a break. Is that okay? Promise me that you won't be lost because you are boring of listening to my accent. Is that okay? Okay, this is the, let me move that thing. This is the Anthropocene. And I will talk about all of these topics today. Some of them are repetition from History and Theory 2 or 3. Is this not 2 or 3? 2. From History Theory 2. So if you listen to some repetitions from that class, it's intentional. So we want you to remind some topics that are very important for us in history and theory. So I'll talk about 3 humble truths. I will explain, at least from the perspective of this class, what we mean when we say ecology. Then we will ask about how we understand the city and the urban environment through different sources of understanding. And then I will explain what is the most important topic of this class is how we operate through a particular system that condition the way we design. This is what we will call several times during the semester the operating system. What is the operating system? Where is the system where we are now? Can you guess that? What is the system where we live? So, iOS? No. What is the system where we live? What do you think? How we call this system where we live? You know, I already said before, I'm this type of professor who feels very comfortable with uncomfortable design. So, what is the system where we live? Where we live now? What is the system? What is this system called? No idea?
Is it capitalism?
Could be, yeah. How many types of, yeah, good, very good. So how many types of capitalism we have? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 0? It's at least 1. Is it any one type of capitalism? So we will discuss a lot how we live in this operating system and how we work or not to manage, change, adapt, or whatever we can do with this system that basically asks us to design in a specific way. And this is what this topic is about. And then after that, so I'm really happy because many of these topics are basically related to good examples. So these are basically good examples. Actually, if I can summarize that, we have in red basically good examples, or good, let me call good practices. And then if I mention that in green is about the operating system that we're in. Am I right or not? You think I'm right with this pattern, with this classification? Where this can land? What is this shirt sign? What is this? Yeah?
Somebody had mentioned that if a city finds good material that helps reduce carbon
Okay, so which means that this is also red. Okay, so I will be talking here about to answer what is in green, and I hope that I can give you several examples about good practices, about how we can address that thing. So these good examples are just few examples. Our goal is that you come with other ones for Tuesdays and you analyze them. So I will give you a couple of them. So I decided, because the time is so short, I put in the slides these 5, but I will talk only about these 3, okay? You can take a look at the others by your own. Is that okay? This is my plan for today. Let me start talking about the 3 humble. Can you say that word for me? This is a very difficult word for me in Spanish. Not this one. Humbling. Humbling? Okay, the 3, welcome Berenice. The 3 humbling truths. First, in our times, after the Industrial Revolution, in the post-industrial area, information is no longer a limiting factor. Let me tell you why this is important. We have to assume, as professors, that we have nothing to share you. There is no information that we can give you. Nothing that we will tell you this semester is something that you cannot find in the internet. So we are not providing you new information. Just you have to be aware about that. So you know what happened? So when at the beginning of our civilization, before current era, there was a famous library called the Library of Alexander. You know that thing? Supposedly, there was a library created by Alexander the Great, and he wants to have the entire knowledge of information, all the information you have in the world, in a single building. Because supposedly you have all information of the world in a single building, you can have the power to control and to manage and to fix the whole building, the whole world. That was the dream of the Library of Alexander. So that we're talking about before three centuries before current era. And one of the issues of that library is that that never happened. It was impossible to have all the information in one single library. So, and that's the reason, because information means power in the past. If you had information, you had the power. But what is happening today? All the information is here in our hands. So everything that you want to know is already here. So this is like the dream of Alexander the Great, because he has all the information in this little device. I can access to everything that I can have. I want. I can have the power because I have all information. Okay, I want you to read this. Supposedly we were controlling and changing the world because we can, if we have all information in our hands. Now that we have all the information in our hands, is it true that we can control and fix the world? No. Why? That's the big question of the first humble truth. Why having information doesn't matter anymore? Why I cannot control or fix, why I cannot have the power to understand, not even to understand the world, even if I have all the information in my hand. Why? We need to be quicker. Why does it matter to have information anymore? Yeah.
Lack of resources, like financial power.
Like a financial power, but suppose that you have the information, and you can have the power to have resources because information is power, you know. Yeah.
Because we're always learning new things, new information always being added.
So this new information, how new information comes? How you got new information? So are you sure that? Yeah, but so let me change the phrase. So it's true that you can add more information, but when you can add more information, it's already there and you can have the power. You in seconds. Actually, not only you have the information, you have bots that can read that very fast and give you summary. Why we're not so powerful now? Yeah.
The kind of power you're talking about, it only comes when you're the only one with the information.
Yeah, when you spread the information, everybody have the power, nobody has power. So where powers come from now? It's, yeah. Yeah. So because probably the big difference is knowledge is different than information. So you can have information, but that doesn't mean that you have knowledge. So what you have to add to the information that you have in order to create knowledge and new knowledge? Certain level of interpretation, certain level of critique, certain level of understanding, yeah?
I think you need to have like a purpose.
Like a purpose, like an intention, like a strategy, that's true. So what we are trying to do here is that we are not providing anything else here, but creating a tool and a space for you to create your own purposes, your own intentions, your own strategies to transform whatever we're saying into new knowledge. So the first humble truth is that you have to create knowledge. We have nothing to say. We have no information to provide. Even if we provide some information, the education comes only when you create this new knowledge. The second thing, the second truth, and these truths you will see that they will be the umbrella of the whole semester, okay? The second one, the system is broken. So, what is the system? What did you say that already? What is the system? Capitalism. Is it true that the system is broken? What do you think? Yes. Why yes? Please.
It was in America. It was founded on principles by people that the country has become encompassing of more than that. And so it was founded to do one thing, but now the country is about something else.
Yeah. So so I don't know if you, I'm gonna give you an example of that. It's called the American Dream. I came here for the American Dream. Do you know what is the American Dream? Is it true already? Somehow, is it true that if we work, we'll have our own house with our dog, kids, and backyard? It's not always happening. It's not that easy. How much you have to gain, to earn, after you have a fancy degree from Wentworth? How much you have to earn after that, have an American Dream? How long that will take? It seems that the system is not providing the thing that we want. And this is, yeah?
Nowadays, it's like, it takes a while to even get a house. Or
It's take a while to even get a house. So affordability is one of the things that because the system is broken. But also inequality. Imagine this is happening with you, that you earn a degree. Imagine a person who doesn't. Okay? And there are other reasons because the system is broken, is the accelerated emissions of carbon footprints that have evidence that are destroying really really quick our planet. And that happens when you have many places to have a lot of flood and many places that are really dry and many places that are have a lot of floods. These are slides from Shireen. You know Shireen? You have to take a class from Shireen if you can. She's an expert in climate change and migrations. And this is how Boston will look like in 2100. So the system or the cities are broken. So I recommend you to go to the slideshow later if you have time. So this video basically explains the way the humans are controlling every single part of the planet. And this is the reason because we now talk about planetary urbanism. Planetary urbanization. The whole world is urbanized. The bottom of the sea is urbanized because we have cables that connect Cuba with Venezuela, US with Europe. So we have a lot of cables that have connectors. The bottom of the sea is urbanized. When you take out one tree in the middle of the Amazon, this is happening because we want to build a furniture which is built in Denmark and sell in Stockton in IKEA. Are you following me? So there is a planetary capitalism, a global capitalism that is taking control of the whole world and at the same time destroying the whole world, because sometimes what happens is that when we think that the system is broken, we think in ourselves and not in the whole system. So this is what this image is talking about. So supposedly, you know what is the concept of the common? The common supposed to be in a space like the Boston Common, where we share this land to have certain assets that we have one fragment of this common for our own purposes. And there is a very typical theory called the tragedy of the common, is that every person who wants to earn money and have the possibility to have another piece and have another piece of the common is putting more and more and more and destroying the common for the benefits of the one. So the tragedy of the commons basically say that this system, what says, is that we have to destroy others in order to benefit ourselves. Can you give me another example of this tragedy? Think about one example about the benefits of you can destroy the benefit of the whole world, of the all. Can you give me one example? One example where you can have benefits because you are earning, for example, money, but these earns destroy in some way the environment. Yeah. The production of plastic. That is clear. So it's so easy to have a bottle of water in a plastic bottle. We are not aware that this is destroying tunnels several miles away. And this is the tragedy of the common. So we are not thinking in the common when we have this plastic. Another example, please. I want three. I need three, yeah.
Like when you get on the train and you skip the paying thing, so you don't pay for the train, you still use it.
Yeah, that's a good one, and very simple. Where we don't pay for public things, at the end, if you can pay that thing, that ticket, You're not providing and you don't pay, you're not providing the sources that for others to use them. Another example. Yeah. There is another what is very typical in America. Yeah? Driving cars. Yeah. There is one book that I recommend you about this topic by the Professor Edward Glaser from Harvard University. It's called The Triumph of the City. Oh, this is really bad. So I hope that you can read that. There is a chapter here there that he explained that one of the reasons because the system is broken is because we are living, most of us live in suburbs. Can I ask, who are you living or used to live or your parents live in a suburb? Like raise your hand. In a suburban area. Many of us. Okay, actually myself also. Okay, so what he explained is that he asked in the book, how much is the cost of a car? Who owns a car here? I own a car. Okay, how much do you have to pay yearly for a car? Or let's say monthly. How much does it cost monthly for a car? Please.
1,900
1,900 per year.
per month.
1,900 is the least.
Yeah.
1,900 per month.
Like $600.
Most cars in the city cost a lot more. So in the suburb, it would be like maybe
Okay, he said 600, 900. Let's do an average. Let's say 1,200. Okay, that's good. What else? How much?
I think it's a little high, but
You think it's too high? How much it should be?
I mean, you're paying like insurance, which is like $200 to $300 a month, and then gas, which is probably like another $200.
Okay, let's say, how much is the lease of a car in average, please? 7? 800?
I'd say 400 or 500. It's like typical monthly.
6, okay. 600 you say? Okay, well, let's say 7, okay? And how much is it? How much you pay for gas?
well, it's 549, so it's
$200? $200 per month in gas. This is the lease, and this is the car. What else we have to pay for a car in a month?
Insurance,
Okay, how much is that?
$150.
150, thank you. How much? Sorry, what did you say?
Insurance.
Okay, the insurance. What else? Imagine that we pay around, I'm gonna say it's 100 for maintenance. Okay? What else? How much is it? How much costs a car here? These are the direct cost of cars. How much is this? Can you help me? Can you help me with the math? 1,200. Okay. How much? What else? How much costs a car?
1250. That's 1250.
1250. Okay. So $1,250 per month. How much? Do I miss something here? What else we need to drive?
A parking spot.
A parking spot. Okay. Imagine that you have to pay a parking spot. That's good. How much is a parking spot per month? I know that. It's like, yeah, because I have to pay that. It's around $50. So let's do plus parking. So would that be 1,300? How much? What else? How much is a car per month? How much? Yeah. What else we're missing here? What else I need to drive a car? Okay, we were talking about the individual things. Now, we're talking as a person. What we, as a collective, have to pay in order for us to have a car.
Taxes, highway, like road.
A highway, a road, what else?
Your driver's license.
Who's paying for the driver's license? What else?
Pay for a toll.
Oh, we pay for toll. What else? No, but we pay individually. We can have that as individual. I'm talking about the collective. Okay, how much is the cost to maintain a highway if we live in a suburb? We don't know. Who's paying that?
The government.
The government? Who knows? The taxes? Are you getting my point? So what Robert Edward Glaser said is if we charge to the car the real amount of money that we need to use the car, probably less people will use the car. And that's the tragedy of carbon. So imagine that you need to pay, in addition, because how much costs a highway? How much costs to take trash in a suburb because we decided to live far away because we have a car? How much costs to put water in pipes to the suburb far away because we decided to move far away, we have a car? How much is the cost of environmental destruction because we are producing carbon through the car because we have a car? What is the cost of that? If we totalize that amount of money and we charge that to the car, probably the cost won't be $1,300, but much more. And we decide, no, I prefer to live close to the city and not having a car. So the system is charging us the individual cost of the things, but we're not being aware about the cost of the collective things. And this is one of the reasons because the system is the system is broken. Because we are not being aware about the collective cost of things like environmentals or the cost of maintenance of the thing. So what he say, and this is, if you look at one documentary called The Inconvenient Truth, do you have that documentary? It's a documentary about climate change, produced by Al Gore. He said in a moment that it's difficult for a man to understand something when his salary depends on him not to understand it. So if I told you, okay, if we fix the system, you have to pay for the highway. Oh, I don't get it. I don't understand. What are you talking about? I only want to pay $1,300. Are you following me? The system is asking you not to understand. Because if you understand, the cost that you're paying will be higher. And so the system itself is hiding the problem that the system has. And I cannot go deep in that, but actually the US spend like $10 billion a year to repair the damage of climate, while spending $100 billion a year to promote the system. So if you calculate the amount of things that we pay to maintain the system, like highway, trash collections, and so on, we're paying 100 times more the amount of money that we are paying to remediate climate change or things like the protocol of Kyoto. So the system itself is keeping its issue, and for that reason, so that's the reason because we can argue the second humble truth that the system in many ways is broken. Third one, if we understand that issue, we have no time to waste. So the third humbling truth that we are proposing here is that we have to act right now. So we have to start. So we have no time because the system is broken, and the issues are coming so fast. We have spatial inequality, we have racism, we have climate crisis, and everything that you have described here. We have no time to wait. We have no time for you to finish your degree, and after that have some years with professional and then have a license. And after that, in 10 years, you start acting. No, you can be agents of change right now. And that's the reason because we are proposing the analysis as an assignment. So in the past, this type of classes used to be classes about understanding the world and criticizing the world. We're asking you to propose ideas about how to fix it. And this is what the analysis is about. We want you to be agents of ideas, or agents of change, producing ideas for change right now because there is no time to waste. And how we can make it? Through whatever we can know. So what is the tool that we have an architect to fix the world? What we can do? We can draw, we can write. This is the thing that we are having. So the tools that we are having to fix the world are basically these tools, and this is what you are doing for Thursday. So now I want to talk how we can fix that. Do you know the 4 sources of understanding? How we understand the world, how we understand how the system is working. You know that already? I'm pretty sure that Robert Cowherd told you that in history theory. So, but these are the most important sources of understanding that we are proposing here. One is the world itself. So we are proposing you that every single analysis that you do for Tuesdays, you try to understand the world and try to understand the sources that the world provide to us in order to fix the problem. So what are the sustainable examples, this landscape strategy, the bioswale, Jay, thank you for that are around, what are the sources, the ideas that are around that can help us to fix or to understand why the system is broken. This is the first source that we are asking you to find, the world itself. What is this? Can you imagine what is the second one? Let's do an exercise. I'm so boring to talk about much. So I'm going to give you, what is the second source? Let's see that. One at all. What is the second source? If the first one is the world, what is the second one? How we can find sources to understand or to address or to change the world. Yeah. There are other people. Let's see, okay? I have no idea. Let's see, okay? She's saying other people. No, it's architecture itself. No. So the architecture is telling you through drawing and thinking how we can fix that. So we see the world, but also we want you to see or to understand what others have done. What's West A? Sasaki. Alejandro Echeverri. What others have done before in order to understand that thing. And we are asking you, trying to understand what is happening. In studio, we call that precedent, okay? And we usually use precedent analysis. So, okay, let's see if the third one is others. The third one is, yes, others. So the third source of understanding is your own struggles. And that's the reason because I'm asking you several times how to take them. What is the fourth one? The first one is the world. The second one is architecture itself. The third one is your classmate. The fourth one is?
Yourself.
It could be your. I like that. I like that. Oh, no, that's so boring. I chose the fifth one. I will change that next year, I promise. So I should be the first one. Yeah, we can answer some questions sometimes because we were here for a while, a little bit more than you. I don't know how old are you, I'm 51. Robert is like 81. So, I don't know what it is. So, have few years more than you. We had the opportunity to listen a little bit. But we have the fourth source of understanding. And next year, this presentation will change and will be number 5. Thank you. Number 4 will be yourself and your body and your understanding of yourself. Yeah. So, but before we move, I told you that I want to tell you certain examples, but before we move to these examples, I need you to learn into particular concepts that are very important for me, which is basically what ecology means. We were talking about ecology, so we have to change the ecology, and this is all ecological thing. We really need to understand what ecology means. So this is the second chapter of my presentation. Do you need a break or you're going good? We're going good? Okay. So I'm going to shift to the other presentation. And I don't have to repeat what you already know, that the world is in a crisis and the climate is very, very hard. But what I want to say today is be careful, because when you recognize it's true that the climate is affecting us, but it's also true that the global south is more affected. Do you know what is a global south? What is a global south? What is what global south means to you? What is global south? Do you know what third world means to you? What is third world?
Underdeveloped.
Underdeveloped. It's underdeveloped. Are they really underdeveloped? What is development?
No. Oh, more like their civilization. Their, I don't know.
No, that's a
You know what I
struggle.
mean?
I love this struggle. So in the past, the world used to call other countries the third world. You know why? Do you remember why? After the World War II, what happened? Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
So, people would based on line data.
Yeah. How many worlds we had before? We have one world, which was the capitalism, like led by the Allies and with the big power of the United States. What the second world? The Soviet Union and the socialism system. So we have capitalism and socialism, two operating systems. And the third world is whatever's in the middle. Whatever is not there. It's the third world. So when the Soviet Union disappeared, you know that? You remember that? Do you have an idea of that? No, really close. 1989. When fell down the Berlin Wall? 91 or 89?
I think it was 89.
It was 89, I feel so. But do you know that socialist countries collapsed? So for that reason, it doesn't make sense to call that third world anymore. There is no third world. If you don't have a second world, you don't have a third one. And at the same time, I have a presentation about that, but I don't have time to explain that in detail. It doesn't make sense that we call that underdeveloped. So what we have called development have produced this crisis that we are describing now. Is it really development? A way where we grow and grow and grow forever, and we earn money forever, despite we destroy the planet? So for that reason, many people are saying, wait, are we sure that this is the real development? Are they really underdeveloped? So if you go to Nicaragua, where your parents are, John? If you go to Guatemala, the nature and the reservoirs of natural resources in Guatemala are so huge. So they have a lot of assets there. Probably that's the real development, where you have a type of economy that can preserve your natural resources, like in Guatemala. So my point here is that that's a reason, because we decided to call it's the name that we have now, for now, the global South. So the North-South is the industrialized countries like the United States and Europe and China and Russia. And the global South are mostly countries that, like in Guatemala, Caracas, Dubai, that are in the South that have other type of development. Oh, surprise. Even though Guatemala has a lot of resources, natural resources, it's in a place that is really susceptible for being affected of the climate change. So the surprise of this map, taken from the independent, is the cities that are in the global South are more susceptible for being affected in the global South, by climate change than us. And that's the reason, because I used to live here. I decided to fly back here because I don't want to be affected. I'm thinking of myself and my family. We're talking about two things. One is climate change. What is the second one? Climate justice. It's inequality. So you will see that we will discuss in several times this semester between climate and justice. It's environment and social issues all coming together. So this is the reason, because the system is broken, and this is the consequence of that. So we have flooding, hurricanes like in Florida, extensive fires, or desertification in Honduras, really close to your country, John. So the climate is evident that it's really evident that the system is broken. And this is basically because we have not understood yet what is ecology. So what I will explain now is one definition about what ecology means, or what I propose that we use to define ecology. I want one contribution from you. So I know that I prefer you not use laptops, but if you have a laptop open, please open Google and ask what is ecology, and tell us. What is ecology? Yes. What is the general definition of ecology according to Google?
It is a branch of biology that deals with relations to organisms with one another and their physical surroundings.
Okay, it's the branch of biology that connects organisms with each other and the environment. Okay? You get that? That's the formal definition of ecology. It's the branch of science, I will say science, it's the branch of science that explains the connection between between organism and environment and the surrounding. Do you get that? Do you take note of that? You cannot. You have to take note of that. It's already in Google. So information is not valuable. So if you look at the definition, like etymological definition of ecology, and this is not easy to find, guys. So you can take note of this. And this could be my 30% of today. Ecology, do you know what ecology means? Logy means science that studies something. Like sociology is the science that studies the social. Politology is the science that studies politics. Every time that you see logic, it's a science that studies something. So logic, ecology, is the science that studies eco. And eco means oikos in Greek. What is oikos? No idea. Oikos in Greek means house. So ecology is the science that studies the house, my home. So if you have the literal etymology of the word ecology, it's the science that study our house. What does that mean with ecology? So why this is ecology? So what I have to add here is that you have the house and the people, and that creates tangible and non-tangible interactions. For the Greeks, the word house was more what we define like household. You know what is a household? So the house is not only the infrastructure, it's also the interactions that you have in that house. So ecology is the science that studies where we live and the interaction that this place produced in us. Are you following me, Jack? That's very important for me today, that you understand that concept. Let me talk a little bit about what house means in this context. I want one people who is an international student that can volunteer for me. Raise your hand. Well, you're an international student. Remember your name. Catalina. Can I ask where are you from? She's from Colombia. What part of Colombia? Bogota. I love Bogota. I'm coming to Bogota in hours. So I'm pretty sure that when she walked around, Catalina walked around in Newbury Street, and she saw a person from Bogota walking at the other side of the sidewalk, you can recognize that they are from Bogota. Am I right or not?
If I hear them.
So,
Not,
if you heard them, so you need to listen to them. Okay, you cannot recognize that for the way they walk.
For the way it could be. Yeah.
It could be.
They walk fast.
Even for the way they dress.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
probably
in Newbury, now we're very.
because so fancy. Let's change the place. Let's say that we are walking in Huntington Avenue. If you see someone from Bogota, you can recognize them. Yeah. So what we're talking here, they are like family for her. So what I'm trying to say here is that people from Bogota in Huntington Avenue is like sisters and brothers for Catalina. They are certain kind of brothers. So they are part of your family in some way. At least they are more familiar to you than people who are not from Bogota. What I'm trying to say here is that the concept of home has different scales and layers. Let me say that in another way. Inside my home, my infrastructure, the home, my wife, my brother, my wife, I don't include my brother. My wife, my daughter, and my son, they are my family. And if I put a door out of my home, they are my family, and the rest of my neighborhood, they are not. But if I move away from my neighborhood, and I go to another neighborhood, these neighbors are more familiar to me than the other ones. Are you following me? And if I move out of this town and I go to another city, these people from this city are more familiar to me than the other one. If I move out to another continent, and I go to Dubai, you have a people from Dubai here. If I go to Dubai, people from America will be more familiar for me than people from Dubai. Are you following me? There are layers of understanding of this familiarity. And I'm pretty sure if I move to another planet, people from this planet will be more familiar to me than people from another planet. So what this means that this relationship between organisms, within the home and the infrastructure, this science that study the home has different layers, have different scales. So ecology is that study that we have between us in our home at the scale of the micropolis, which means at the scale of my neighborhood, but also at the scale of the metropolis, the city, and also at the scale of the ecomenopolis, which is a fancy word to define the world. So at the end, ecology is the science that understands that the place where we live is our home, and the people that live there is our mates, our family. So if we understand that people who live in the whole world, in the ecomenopolis, is also our. If we understand that this is our home, and this is the place where our family live, and we understand that we want them to be good, we will be more ecological. So, and with what we are trying to understand, if we understand that the ecology understand the home beyond our home, we will be less individualistic in the way we think of our home. Because if we put a trash in the middle of any part of the world, at the end this is affecting my house. So, is this too complicated or not? This message is too complicated or not? Okay. I want one person to volunteer and summarize what is ecology for me. What is ecology? I want to be sure that you got that. Do what about? She wants. Yeah.
Ecology is a branch showing different relationships between kind of like living things.
Living things or living,
Or just
living
things.
people.
Yeah.
Okay, is it people? No? What is missing there? She said, let's build that concept with everybody. The branch of whatever, that's not that important, to understand the relationships of things, and I say people, you didn't say that. But what is missing there? Yeah.
Connection to the environment,
What is environment?
species around you, like the layers.
Surround you, okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's take that for now. In a couple of weeks, I will explain why the word environment is not helping us. But let's save that for now. So it's the relationship between us and what surrounds us and the space that surrounds us. But what is important in that concept that we have to understand that we all have certain level of familiarity. So we have to understand that this is our home, and if I understand that every person here is my brother and my sister, and I need you to be well in order for me to be well, we're not having an ecological. So it's not only that relationship, it is this type of, I would say, foundational or a spiritual relation. Well, we want everybody to be well. I think in moving away from the individualization that have made this system broke. Oh, this is, you know what this, so this is the first picture taken from the space about the world. That was 1972. That photo was taken in 1972 by Apollo 11. It was called the Blue Marble. It was the most published photo in the history of civilization until Taylor Swift. I'm not kidding. So Taylor Swift posted a photo and it was really reproduced, and it was the second one, the first one more reproduced, and now this is the second one. Really recently, Artemis went to the sky, to the moon, you remember that? and they had a new photo very similar to this one. And it's surprising because it's 1972, 2026, and the image is so similar. And every time that an astronaut goes away and sees the world, we have the same message. I don't know if you had the opportunity to listen to the message from one of the astronauts. He delivered a message. He said, almost crying, say, I am surprised. This is the place that we have. We have to keep it. It's very surprising to see how beautiful is the Earth and how we are not at the level of the lacking of awareness that we have when we look out from the sky. So this is the blue marble, and this is our home, and the message from ecology is that this is our home, and this was understood in 1972. Actually, there was something very fun. Remember that this is history and theory. This is a historic part. So in 1972, Apollo 17, not 11, took that photo, the blue marble, and the same year, the Club of Roma wrote that book called The Limit of Growth. So was in 1972 when we realized that we cannot grow forever. So the message of capitalism is that you can grow forever and produce assets and money, and you can grow forever. We realized in 1972. You believe that this is a while ago, but it's not, guys. I born in 1974, and I don't feel that I'm that old. So really recently, we realized that we cannot grow forever because the world has limits. So this world cannot expand more. It cannot grow more. This is the world that we have. And this is the beginning of one world that you will listen a lot, which is sustainability. This concept and this book was the beginning of sustainable thinking. Understanding that we cannot grow forever in the capitalist system. Let me skip that one. And that comes with one important theory. So how you are doing? Berenice, are you doing okay?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Turning slides here.
Yeah, okay. Is everything okay? Are we surviving here? Okay, because this is very difficult. I need you to get that. So there is no single class about history of urbanization in the world that doesn't talk about Malthusian theories. So I will explain the theory. Okay, and I need to do this exercise. This half of the class will assume that Robert Malthus was right. Okay? In his theory. And this part of the class will assume, even if you have another opinion, okay? This class will assume that Robert Malthus was wrong. Okay? I will explain the theory, and want some people from here to explain why he was right. I want some people from here to explain what he was wrong. Is that okay? That's the deal. Okay, that's the theory. The theory of Robert Malthus is called the Malthusian theory, and it's the beginning of, like, at the core of capitalism understanding is that resources grow in an arithmetic way. So you have a crop of land, and every year you can harvest 100 potatoes, and the other year, if you continue, you can have 200 potatoes. So you can basically grow gradually. Okay. So every year you can have one more. So you harvest one hectare with 100 potatoes, and the second year you have 2 hectares, 200 potatoes, 3 hectares, 400 potatoes, and this is the way you grow. You have the same amount of growth year by year. So if you grow one, you grow one. That is how resources like food are produced. But population grows exponentially. So today we're living 1 billion, and tomorrow 200.5, and then 400.5. How many people are living in the world now? I think it's 8. I think it's 8 billion. So it's amazing because last year was 7, and the year before was 5, and the year before was 4. Are you following me that we grow exponentially really high? So what he says is that because the growth of population is exponential, every time we are having more is 1. So if the community have 100 people, the other year is not 200, it's 250. And the other one is not 500, it's 700, and so on. It's a growing that is exponential. So because of the resources, and this was said let me remember, 1798. This theory was 1798, Robert Malthus. Because resources grows arithmetically and population grows exponentially, there is a point of crisis. There should be a moment where the world would collapse because we have no way to produce resources like food for the amount of people because we can only have crops land by land and people are growing exponentially. That's a theory, very simple. Questions about the theory, raise your hand. Because you have to argue now if you're right. Okay, is he right or wrong? What do you feel? I want to ask you if he was correct or incorrect. Jake, you're in the wrong and say that you say it's wrong. Right. You have to speak louder. He said that industrialization technology produced a lot of resources and it's strong. So this also, you can have more resources. I want you to explain what he was correct. Any person here? Do you see he was correct or not? Do you feel that will be a moment of crisis or that we no food for us? Because at the end, the world has limits. We can have, if we continue growing and growing, where we harvest the food. So yeah. Any argument here? I want you to tell me if this theory is correct and why. I see that you want to talk. Yeah.
Okay. I don't think food is a factor, but I do think resources have skyrocketed and our population has increased a lot more. So you can see already that certain factors of the world, like you can say in West Africa or in South Asia, right? Those resources are kind of dwindling compared to more Western.
This is an amazing comment. Why didn't you say that before? It's an amazing comment. You hear that? He said, why? It's happening. We have places like in West Africa that people have no food. The crisis is already there. The crisis is already there. There are places in the world, like, did you say West Africa?
West Africa.
Yeah, West Africa where people have no food. Go ahead.
So the increase in resources like speed up the population of the world exponentially. So if you get more resources, you have more people, which are now grow more.
Oh,
so it would be like a round.
That's a good one. He said that because you have more resources, more food, people are growing even faster. And then that increases the crisis. Okay, they say that is true. Are you okay with that, Jake, or not? He's right? No? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, this isn't true for West Africa because they probably do have a lot of kids and they don't have enough food, but in the United States, people are choosing not to have kids because there aren't enough resources. So technically, maybe the graph doesn't ever converge because people are choosing not to have kids because there aren't enough resources.
What is the conclusion that we're arriving here? Is it true or false? It depends. It depends on what? It depends on where. Do you get that? So probably he was right in West Africa. I'm just using the example that you use, okay? But it's right that the resources are actually probably, if we have West Africa, the resources are growing this way, and the crisis come even faster. You know what I mean? So actually, let me change the color. So this is the growth of population. But probably your name, Aaron. Aaron is right that in the U.S. what is happening is that probably the population is increasing in a different rate, sorry, go ahead. So the population is not increasing that high. And also because of technology, you're right, resources are going so fast. So the crisis never happened. And you have an area here that can solve this crisis. Are you following me? So what is happening? No, you don't. Okay. So what is happening, what we are concluding here is that if you are in the United States or in Europe, you have technology to produce food so fast, and the population has not grown so fast, so you will have always food for the people who are living here. So it's not true. The crisis is not happening, which is this graphic. So the food is producing at the same rate than the population. But if you are in West Africa, you don't have the technology to grow food so fast, and populations are growing really fast. So it's not that the crisis is coming. We are already in the crisis. So what I'm trying to explain here is that this theory that supposedly explains the crisis of capitalism is not the same depending on the place of the world. So at the end, the crisis of capitalism comes with inequality. And that's probably the main message here that we conclude. Thumbs up if you got that. Good. So I'm going to clean that. And probably one of the things that you have to understand for your exercise is, why not? This is an idea for the analysis. Why not taking some ideas that you found in one area and apply to another area to see if they match in order to improve certain conditions? Okay? So remember that the humble and true first three is that you have to act right now. They are already certain. So what I'm planning to say is that this is the beginning of sustainability and the whole logic of sustainable development that we were planning that I'm planning to talk with you next week. Okay, guys, we have covered several things today. So first, I'm wrapping up the topics of the day for now. First, we say that you have information is not existing anymore, it's not important anymore. You have to understand information, connect dots in order to create knowledge. This is your goal. Okay, this is my first goal. Second, the system is broken. Why? Because of inequality. Okay? And because we are not getting the importance of ecology. Now I'm going to the third part of the presentation. Okay? So the third part of the presentation comes with this image. Oh no, it's not this one. Who knows that image? What do you see there? So this image is basically the design, very well designed, by the way, very efficient. Design of the ships that transport slaves in the 17th century from West Africa to America. It was very efficient. It was a very great designer. It was designed in a way that you can have as many slaves sit here, and so you can see here, actually you can see the slaves here. So the height of this area of the ship is exactly the height of the people, so that you can house as many people that you can have, and then to stabilize the bottom with resources and food to transport as many people that you can have from West Africa to the United States. Is this a good design or a bad design? You say no. But it's amazing. It's very well efficient. He served the purpose very well. You can transport as much slaves that you can because of this design. So it's very well designed. Is this a good design or a bad design? I need you to take a position. This is a very important topic. It's a bad. Why?
It's unethical.
Sorry?
Because it's unethical.
It's unethical. So is this? So you say, but it's a good design that is unethical. So if a design is unethical, is a well design or a bad design? So I remember. Please try to connect the dots. The first word that I said about the knowledge was information. we have information, is the data that is available. The second word that I said today was knowledge. Knowledge comes when you connect the dots and create new knowledge by understanding the information data. You get that? Information, knowledge. The third word that I want to introduce now is wisdom. Wisdom comes when you add the ethical layer to that knowledge. This was an amazing project of design embedded in a particular system that was racism, that had a particular culture. So one architect can say, wait, I was hired to design a ship to transport the slaves. It's not my fault that I live in that culture. I live in a culture where people from West Africa are transported into the US. It's not my fault. I've been paid to design a ship. It's very well designed. Is that correct or not? No, obviously it's not correct. What we are trying to say here is that sometimes we have a culture that creates a system that asks us for a particular project. But we as an architect, sometimes we can reverse the order and imagine, what if we design a different project that asks for a different to a different system that challenge in some ways the culture. And this is what this class is about. It's trying to understand how we can design projects that even if they are inside the system, what is the system that we're talking about? What is the operating system? Capitalism. How, it's not racism anymore, okay? But we already discussed the issues of capitalism. How we can propose design ideas, and this is what you have to come on Tuesday. How we can design ideas that even if they are inside capitalism, they challenge the system in order to change the culture. What we can do with our projects, and instead of responding to the culture as we are doing right now, designing chips, how we can design ideas that challenge the system. And this is what this project is about. And I will give you some examples, okay? And this will be very quick. So fasten your seat belts, because I will show you 3 examples, 3 good practices. One in the Netherlands, the second one in Medellin, the third one in Boston. Are you prepared to go examples? So these are examples that in some ways decided to challenge the system through design, through different projects. So the first one is the Dutch flood landscape in the Netherlands. I will use like 3 minutes for each one. I just want to introduce them. If you love them, you will reserve. But these guys, you know that the whole Netherlands are below the sea level. You know that? The entire, that's the reason that it's called the Netherlands. It's low, flat lands, lower than sea levels. So the flooding is very, very bad in the Netherlands. So they decided to do a system of canals across the landscapes in order to control with gates where the water goes and use this water to avoid flooding in certain areas, but also to use the water to irrigate other areas. Even if they are below the sea level, Netherlands is not flooding because they decided to create a landscape that changed the system of flooding and changed the way that works. But there is something more important. In order to create this infrastructure, they have to create a new government. That was called the water tables. So they met together water tables, and the Dutch guys sat together and said, I am having floods because of your land. So you have to pay for my land because I don't want the floods so that I can produce what you need. So even if they are not floods, they have no floods in their lands, they are paying together through the water tables the canals that solve the water system. So the economy also worked in favor of preventing the floods. So what I say here is that this guy has to use this water in her land. This guy is also paying for that because they know that the system will work better and they have more ways to connect them if they are all controlling the floods. So the first good example is the landscapes of canals in the Dutch that created a governance system called the water tables, an economic model that asked everybody to pay for the infrastructure that everybody needs, even if that needs was not in their own land. Are you following that? Good example one. Done. So I hope that I am answering some of these questions there. So, and these are, so, and I know, no, I have to say that, come on, I really like the Dutch guys. They also did something. They realized that because of flooding, there are two additional things that this system did. So you have, this is how the floods are happening, and they decided not to build houses everywhere, but to concentrate houses in specific places, so they can build the canal system across the territory. Are you following there? So very different than in America, where we decided that houses are everywhere in the suburban area. They decided to concentrate population in specific areas, and that concentration created a new different housing model that allowed the canals to happen in the rest of the land. So someone will say, "Oh, we're living in a housing crisis in America. This is how the concentration of land happened." So yeah, so they also had, and this is how the clusters of population happened. So they also had a housing issue, a crisis of affordability in a housing. So what is the solution that we have here for housing? It's only one. How many type of housing models do we have in America? Let's say 3. You can own a house, you can rent a house, or you can live in a condo. Most of them have the same typology. And what is the main typology of housing in America? The wood light frame houses in the middle of a plot that have a backyard, a front yard, a side yard, and a fellows in a suburban area. So they decided to, in the Netherlands, because they couldn't have this model, because they couldn't use the whole land, because they need that land for the canal systems to prevent flooding. They tested several scenarios of housing until they concluded that capacity, having compact cities to open these areas, were the most successful one, and they created examples like this one in the Netherlands, where, because they have few lands, they have these areas of capacity where everything is clustered together, and even that, you have an area for parking in the front, and a front yard there, and a backyard as well. So they create a new model of compact cities and high densities of cities in order to leave land free for food production and you look at the backyard of this. I can imagine that my kids live there. Obviously, there are certain changes in the concept. They share certain areas in order to make this happen. So they changed the housing model in order to have the land available to the canal system. But there is a third thing that I have no time to talk today, is the automatization of cropping. I'm saying that because you can use that in Studio 6. In Studio 6, you will design a food production building. You know that? We will design a place where you can produce food. So actually, we are designing a food. That's a program of Studio 6. You'll see that in after. So why not? Some of you decided to study the Netherlands example where you have automated cropping in order to produce food inside buildings and have vertical production of food to avoid the expansion of the land and avoid to take a lot of land for production. So this is my good example one. The second example one is Medellin. Who knows Medellin? Raise your hand. Are you been there? Oh, okay. So Medellin. So they were in the place where it was the most violent city in the world. We will come back to Medellin in a couple of classes, okay? So I have to go very fast now. So if you see that in 1994, Medellin was the most dangerous city in the world. So they decided to change that through design, an urban design. So this guy was Sergio Fajardo. He was the mayor of Medellin. When he hired Alejandro Echeverri, a great architect, and other architects around. And they decided to change the culture of the city through education and through public spaces and infrastructure. And they discovered that the city has a lot of money and they're doing a lot of infrastructure like this one. And he decided to reallocate the money that they were having to fix or to work in the most underprivileged areas of the town. So, and they decided to build the most fancy and beautiful public libraries in the world in the middle of the favela. You know what is a favela? Okay, if you don't know, please Google that. In the middle of the favelas, which are the most underprivileged places. And they decided to build also cable cars. So look at this, is quite fun. It's really fun because imagine that I live here in a very privileged area that have the most beautiful library in the world. Okay? And here is the most underprivileged area that have nothing. So actually, let me correct myself. In the privileged area, they have a lot of things except of libraries. So he recognized that there were a lack of libraries in the city. Instead of building the libraries in the privileged town that it should happen, he decided to build the libraries that won several awards of architecture, the underprivileged ones, places and build cable cars. So people from the privileged areas have to come to the underprivileged ones to have, if you want to go to the library. And they were so successful. So through architecture and a system of public space system, they draw the crime, and this is one of the view of the library from inside. The crime reduced radically, and is not actually it's a hub of innovation, not of crime anymore. Do you know who is that guy? He was the guy who changed the system in Medellin. Do you know where is it? Is that Watson Hall? Yeah. He came here, the first time that he came to Wentworth, 2011, was because that guy was doing a lecture here. I traveled from Caracas to Boston to listen to that guy. So, and many of the ideas that we have in this class comes, actually was not 2012, what's before? Probably 2009 or something, 2008. So my point is that many of the foundations of this class come from this lecture that he has in Wentworth. So he built escalators and other infrastructure to to transform the city into the amazing city that is today. So, and one of the questions that we want to ask you in this class is, what are the challenges that we are having in 2015? How we can fix them right now? Your proposal for Tuesday, the analysis is, what are the challenges that we're having in the world? So these guys envision a new world of crime through urban design and public libraries and public transportation. And he fixed Medellin because he was able to look beyond the current situation. What are the challenges that you're having in the future? And how we can fix that today. And this is the purpose of the analysis. So I have one last example, 5 minutes of, I want to show you Boston. Is that okay? Okay. Do you think Boston is a good example? It is. So this is the one that I call the Squirrel Highway. So in the past, so when I say in the 18th, 19th century, this is how landscape used to be. So landscape used to be something to beautify privileged areas. So, and at the beginning of landscape as a concept was basically a tool for beautification of privileged area. So, oh no. Okay, but there was one guy called Charles Eliot. You know who is Charles Eliot? Who was Charles Eliot? Charles Eliot understood that landscapes are not only a tool to beautify the areas, but also to manage the ecological systems of the city. So there is a paper that I strongly recommend you to read by Anita Verispadia. she basically made a research about what happened with Charles Elliot. Imagine that you are at the beginning of the 20th century, and the city of Boston decided to build new industries like in the countryside, in the Charles River, or in the countryside of the Charles River. And he realized if they build these industries in the countryside, all the waste of this river will come to the Charles River. So the Boston will be the river of the Charles River in Boston will be very dirty. I said, wait, you cannot build this industry in the countryside, because that will destroy the water system. And then downstream the river, the Charles River will be very dirty. So Charles Harris raised her hand in his hands. He went to the city hall and he said, I need you to have something different. And you know what happened? This guy, we're already in agreement with the industry. And he said, if you come with an idea this week, it was a Wednesday, if you come with an idea to change the water system in 2 days, we could change the project. We can reject the permits for the industry. So do you know what happened? In 2 days, yeah, the problem is this. How that can happen? How in an area, sorry, imagine that was way before AutoCAD, way before Arrival. How this guy had the project of the emerald necklace in 2 days. Can you make a project like this one in 2 days? Nobody can make it. How that happened? You have any idea? The project was ready. So when these guys decided to put the industries in the countryside, he was already working for 4 or 5 years in that project. So he was able to envision the future, and this is what you have to do right now, to understand what will be the problems in 5 years, and have the project ready. When the problem comes, you have the solution already in your hands. So that guy already had this solution in his hands, and he was able to stop the industries in the countryside. And that is the reason because we have the emerald industry. This is what I call the squirrel highway. Because if you are in a squirrel and you are in a countryside, you can, or a turkey, you can walk around this area and go across the whole environment. So it's a way for non-humans to travel around. And this is my good example about Boston. How you can envision the future and create an infrastructure that serves the city in a positive way. So have 7 minutes, 2 minutes from me and 5 minutes to you. In the last 2 minutes, and in my 2 minutes, I will show you one example of the type of project you can, the type of assignment you can do for Tuesday in order to fit this goal. What is your goal? Supposedly we understood the topic today, the issues of ecology and how the way humans are destroying in some ways the planet, and the issues of climate that this is happening, and this is happening at an unequal level. Have you get that point? That's the challenge. You're supposed to come on Tuesday with certain ideas, an analysis about how we can understand better, or even why not fixing that problem. What I'm going to show you now is one example of last year that is not that good, but it's better than nothing. You will do that better. This one. So this is the submission of Laura Peace. This is City 2022. So if this happens in 2022, imagine what you can do in 2026. Okay? This is one example.
Deconstruction of the M30 highway connector guarantees the transition of future urban transformation opportunities to complete a humanized, multi-use, and livable city in Madrid. The plaza respects geographical features of the river's basin to integrate urban qualities bordering the river, creating unprecedented facades along both edges of the riverway. Pedestrian networks cover the underground roadway and follow the canal facades to establish a new system of mobility for surrounding neighborhoods in the livable city. A double protected bike path follows the edge of the river's character, increasing the user experience for cyclists. Bump outs complete the sidewalk's edge to decrease vehicular speeds at intersecting cross drives and is emphasized by parking niches. The new boulevard directs vehicles around the commercial district boundary and under the Canal Parkway, pointing towards the decreased value of a vehicular zone along the canal's character. Now with the characteristics of the river basin exposed to the groundscape, could unconventional modes of transport be incorporated on the riverway?
Okay, so I don't know if you noticed what she did. She selected an image, she made an analysis, understanding the things that are in that image, and she wrote a paragraph explaining what she found. And basically the video is and actually the assignment explained very well what are the type of idea that we suggest you to have there. And basically the video is she explaining or reading her paragraph, showing what she found in the analysis. Any question about this assignment? Yeah.
So it doesn't have the diagram, right?
Yeah, this is the first part, which is the video that includes analysis and diagrams. In addition to that, thank you, she draws certain diagrams. It's basically the summary of the ideas that are happening there. Okay? And the book that we're moving around today has some idea about how we can make these diagrams. But if you are lost, we are suggesting you to draw a section or an axis. So it's basically you take an example, you analyze them with Photoshop, dividing that in layers, and then after that, you write a paragraph that relates to the analysis, and you read that in a video, and then you create a diagram and a design principle with that diagram, following that idea. Guys, this presentation and many other examples are available in Brightspace. Just take a look at them. So if you didn't hear clearly what Laura Fix said in 2022, take a look at the example. And also, in the assignment itself, there is another example. And this is what you have to do by Tuesday. So actually Tuesday, half of the class will be here, the other half will be there, and you will be coming here to show your presentation. By the way, there is a presentation, a shared folder. I'm gonna say that quietly, because I want you to listen. This is very important. There is one presentation in Brightspace, go to the assignment, that goes to the shared folder. You have to submit your presentation right there. So then you can have a shared presentation to discuss. Okay, we have, 3 minutes for you to conclude. You can stay there, you can stand up, you can come. But basically your goal is to say what we answered, what we didn't, and what are the ideas that you have to address first. Right. Yeah, it's your turn. It's the team. No, I'll tell you because you're in the first row. But actually, yes, come here, guys. Come here again. So supposedly you have to include a final slide, a third slide after that. But we want you to basically you can say many things. You can say what are the big conclusions, or you can say second, where are the questions that were discussed that I didn't answer, and then I can take note of that for the future. Or third, you can discuss what are the main topics that you have to address for Tuesday assignment. And you have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
We learned that the system is broken, which is causing destruction in our Earth and climate. And
I do think that Ignacio was able to respond to a lot of the things that were mentioned here. Because I was looking through the list, I thought we didn't mention this one, but when we talked about the industrial constructions that could have happened by the Charles River, I feel like this was kind of talked about a little bit.
But I can take in my notes to talk about more about that in the future, for sure.
After that, I think everything else was talked about, or at least touched on.
I think the important point was that he was trying to show us is how, when he said that we have all the information, like that we have the information like in our phones, is kind of the same as we all know what is happening about the effect of the global warming and how we are causing this, but it's also connected with the part of when it's like when he showed about a project, the culture, like the system and the culture and how it's related, that we all know a fact. It's kind of like compared with that we all have information, but it's also on the responsibility of changing, like making a change or taking the decision of, it's kind of something obvious, but at the same time, it's hard. It's something that is obvious there, we all know that is happening, but it's something that we have to make the change in order to make it work. I don't know.
No, that's a good point.
It's hard to.
So can I add anything else? Yeah.
We can take action in like preventing it to get worse in the future with design strategies in urban settings.
Yeah, it's kind of like we are not saying like, okay, don't do this. We are not like proposing. We are kind of like taking the action of designing this way to make the change. Like in the examples you show of, like in Medellin or the other example, it's kind of like taking the action, and it's not just overseeing what is happening. It's just like kind of like to doing it. I don't know.
That's good. Yeah, I'm gonna connect this. So the big challenge here that we live in a system that dominates, like in some way conditions us. How we can condition or make a change to the system that is already conditioning us. That's a big challenge, I know. So the systems already are asking us to do certain things. How we can take actions to shift certain ideas or certain issues that we're having or we're seeing now today. Okay, anything else, guys? Okay, Tuesday 10 a.m. seminars. It's good. Thank you very much. Thank you for being the guinea pigs.